Hey, Leah, I'm so excited to have you joining me and sharing a little bit about your experience working with me to build your business. So, I'd love for you to start by just telling us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your business and what you do.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Kristin. My name's Leah Vong, and I am a holistic health coach. I work with women who have food sensitivities and struggle with chronic digestive issues. So I really work, on all the food and lifestyle things to remove the stress that is on their gut so that they can heal and their body can come back into a healthy balance and really getting to those underlying symptoms that are or the underlying causes of their symptoms that are causing them so much pain. So
Love that.
yeah,
As someone who has struggled with food sensitivities, it's a very challenging thing to figure out on
yeah,
your own. So,
it is.
yeah, that's amazing. Well, awesome. So tell me a bit about where you were at and kind of what was going on for you before we started working together or when were why you
Yeah.
reached out to me.
Yeah. So when I found you, I just felt like I was kind of spinning my wheels. I was um, really doing everything that I could think of to reach out, to build my audience, really to connect with people and find clients, but I didn't feel like I was going anywhere. So I was posting on social media. I was blogging. I'd started a podcast. Like I was really trying to put myself out there. And that was a big process for me. So that's an important piece of, I think, something that shifted too that we can get into, but that it felt really like a big deal for me to post on social media and to kind of start doing my podcast. And, so I really was like doing all these things, but I preferred to do the behind the scene things
Yeah.
in a big way. I really wanted to, like I was trying to be more visible, but it was hard. That was really challenging for me. So yeah, I just feel like I was pouring like all this time and energy and, at that point, not a lot of money aside from I went through Bschool and I learned a lot from them and I kind of had done that program the year before.
Gotcha.
And I learned a lot from them and I got a lot, I feel like, of good strategies that'll be way more useful in my business now, but they weren't the things that were helping me like really get started
Yeah.
and get clients. Like I didn't feel like I had like a tangible plan when I left there. It was more like I was kind of just like, I'm going to do this thing and then I'm going to do this thing and then I'm going to do this thing. And it was becoming really exhausting. I spent a lot of time on my website because I think that was one of the behind the scene things that was way more comfortable.
Yeah.
And since my husband does that, it kind of an easy way for me to feel like I was doing something, but not really put myself out there at the same time. So like blogging was an easier first step. And then podcasting was an easier first step. And, now I'm doing video and stuff like that. So that's really shifted a lot, like how I'm able to put myself out there. And even though it's still kind of challenging for me, it's much easier and I feel way more confident. So yeah, I think I was just feeling stuck. I was not connecting with people. I wasn't getting clients and I didn't really know how to put myself out there in a way that would attract the right people to me.
Yeah.
So my ideal client was also not clear. I should say that too. I was like, I'm going to work with people who have gut health issues and digestive issues, but that was broad. And I've honed in on that a lot. So, I mean, I think that was a big part of it that the messaging I was putting out there wasn't targeted to this one specific um, group of people. It was a little more vague, I guess,
Yeah.
which kind of led to me just being like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And then if I present it this way, maybe this person will be interested and
Yeah.
really going in circles.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get in that trap. And the food sensitive piece, like getting specific about that has been huge for you.
Yes. Yeah, that feels so much better because that I didn't realize that that was the piece that was such a struggle for me on my own journey.
Yeah.
And, I had the symptoms and the symptoms are what you think about, but it was that I kept having more and more food sensitivities. And I was like getting in this rut of like, okay, now I can't eat this thing. And now I can't eat this thing. And now I can't eat this thing. And I think people really relate to that who struggle with that. Cause it's like, why is it getting worse? And why am I now sensitive to 5 things instead of 3? And
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of an endless cycle.
definitely. And a lot more specific than, because digestive issues, like you said, it can be such a huge topic, right? Like there's so many different digestive issues. So
Yeah, and different causes for them and different triggers. And yeah, it feels way more like tight and collected, I think now. Like my
yeah,
messaging is so much more clear and yeah.
awesome. How do you remember like how long you were working on your business before we started working together?
Let me think. I think I did Bschool in 2020. And I think I'd been going for about 6 months at that point. So it was like fall of 2019, like a solid year and a half, maybe. Would that be right? 2019 to 2020 would be a year. Yeah. And then I started with you kind of at the beginning of 2021 in
Okay.
January of this
Okay.
year.
Okay. Awesome.
So
So it's kind of like a year and a half before we
it
started
was
working.
it was a solid year and a half. And I had
Yeah.
graduated right at that time, but like there was time even before that where I was like still doing my training, and you can start seeing clients at 6 months, and I was not the person that was like seeing clients at 6 months,
Gotcha.
or even ready to put myself out there. So I mean almost like a couple of years
Yeah.
really, but a solid year and a half before I feel like I gained any traction.
Yeah. I think I mean, it's something I hear a lot, right? And I think it's kind of like a big testament of getting the right support and the right plan. And I think
Yes.
it's very challenging without that, because you're just like kind of
Yeah.
doing things and you're like, I hope this works.
Exactly. I'm just going to throw it out there, the spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say too, getting the right support. I mean, it really, gosh, it makes such a difference. I started working with you in January, and in February, I signed like my ideal client. And I hadn't really done that much in the program, but like having that support and my energy shifted somehow. And this person who'd been thinking about, she knew about me, she knew what I did. And she'd been thinking about reaching out to me for a while. And for some reason at that time, like I wasn't even a month into the program, but like it really, like when I started working with my confidence and my vision and really getting clear on those things and my ideal client, like this person showed up who was my ideal client. So
Love that.
I'm such a big believer in like the energy around it and like what you talk about with confidence and how important that is. Cause it was like as soon as my energy shifted, she was there. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is how it works.
Yeah. Kind of amazing how that works, right?
Amazing. Yeah. And then not too long after that, I had 2 more people from once I got my group set up that were, and those first 3 clients were like my absolute ideal clients. Like if I could pick and choose who I wanted to work with forever, like I would choose those ladies. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing. And tell us just like a little bit about really like where you're at now, and kind of the things you've
Yeah.
accomplished since we started working together.
Yeah, I mean, so much has changed. I have my Facebook group running. It grew really quickly, like running my ad to that, and working on building my group was huge for me, I think. But I mean, I'm at like 830 members or something, and I started without a group
Awesome.
before the program. So much of that was knowing how to do and who to target and having my messaging right and all of that kind of stuff. And I feel like so many of the people in my group are really amazing potential clients. I've From the group, I've probably signed up like maybe like 8 people from there, somewhere between 6 and 8 from that. But yeah, I think I was mentioning I just signed my 10th client. So that
Awesome.
shifted because I was working for free. I was just working with friends and family before, to have coaching experience um and to, see if they, help whoever I could, sort of thing. but I wasn't really gaining any traction with like signing up clients. So, I mean, it's completely shifted. And I think so much of it is that I know I'm so much more clear on who I want to work with and what my messaging is, but then the confidence piece and my energy piece too, and like all of those things coming together. I just feel like now I have all these ideas and things that I want to do with so much more direction. So it's like my next steps from here, I just feel like are, okay, I know I want to work on this thing. I know I'm going to do this. I'm going to build up this piece. And I feel like those steps are going to move me forward instead of just being like, okay, let's just see if it works. Like I kind of know that they will work, and I just have to figure out how to keep things moving consistently. But then I can still rely on my group and interacting with people there. And I post so much more than I ever did before, and just feel like also you taught me so much about like really just be who you are, and that is the message that you want to put out there, and the right people will find you. And that was like that I think not just for my business but for my life was like such a relief, and felt so freeing, because I don't know. I think I've had a pattern in the past of trying to put myself in these boxes. You know, my career before, I was an occupational therapist, and I really feel like for the longest time I tried to put myself in a box there, and then I finally got into like what I was more interested in with that. And then, you know, again with coaching, like I have this tendency to be like, okay, but this is how it should be. And so it just feels so liberating to be like, it shouldn't be anyway. It is the way that you are and that you want to be. And I mean, that's been like a big life lesson, not just like I knew those things, you know, right in the back of my mind, but I wasn't practicing them completely. I was like doing the things I thought I should be doing. So I really appreciate that, and that you teach that so much, because I think a lot of us do that. You know, we feel like we need to line these things up, and I need to check off and spell out the formula and work through the formula that someone else gives us. And those aren't the things that are going to work. Like I really believe that what's going to work is what feels right and what feels in alignment for me, and that my messaging and who I am is what is going to connect me with people, not checking off those boxes. So
definitely finding your own path is huge for sure. And I know you've overcome kind of like a big, I would say, fear obstacle for you was like getting visible on video was like a big thing for you, right? And now you're doing it and doing it awesomely. So do you want to tell just like a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the whole process of building my business has been like such a journey of finding my voice. You know, like I wasn't someone who posted a lot on social media before, and you know, part of it was maybe just that I wasn't as drawn to like sharing my life or my story, but also there was a huge element of kind of hiding and not feeling comfortable with that. So not being confident in myself or in what I have to offer, or all of those things. So yeah, it felt really scary. And like I said, I started with a blog, and then I went to a podcast, and then eventually I started doing video, but I wasn't ready to do lives. And then eventually, you know, you really encouraged me to do video. And I really do think that I'm connecting so much more with people through video than sending people to a podcast where they can't see who I am or they can't see my face, you know? And so I think that's been a huge obstacle and a huge shift for me, or a huge barrier to overcome, I guess, that was really kind of holding me back. Because whether I choose to do video or not in the future, like being able to and feeling confident and comfortable to do it that's what's important, you know, that I can do it if I want to. And if it seems like the right tool, it's there and it's available, instead of being like, no, I'm just going to stay back here and be behind the scenes, which has been my pattern probably since I was a kid, you know? So it's pretty huge.
Yeah. No, I know we have those. I mean, that was same for me as being someone who's kind of like an introvert and shy. And it's like, especially putting yourself on video, it's very, very confronting.
Yes.
But I think once you do it, it's like, it's not that bad.
It's
It's still
not
uncomfortable, but it's not that
that. And, I still do some recorded videos, but I am doing lives now too, which was
bad.
a big thing, because I felt like I couldn't, I think it was the perfectionistic tendencies actually, as I'm saying that, because it's like I would start it and then I'd stop it and start again, or stop it and start again, or take it and edit it, and with a
Yeah.
live, you're just kind of there. And so that was like kind of the final step for me. And like just within the past month or so, I've started like really doing lives more. And it's so much easier. It's so much easier than taking it and editing it. So time wise. And
Yeah.
then right now I'm not like, my next step for that is to start really inviting people to my lives. Like right now I'm still kind of at the place where I'm just showing up
Gotcha.
and I'm doing it. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing it. And when I get a little more comfortable, then I'll start like really inviting people to come listen and interact more.
Awesome.
So it's been a process, but it's going really well.
Yeah, I love that. And you said you just had some clients sign on to continue working with you, right? Which is
Yes.
huge.
Yes. I have one person who I just finished with her renewed program. So, and then two others that have just continued their journey as well.
That's huge.
So,
Estimate of how powerful the coach you are and how much you're helping people make change in
yeah.
their lives, right?
Yeah, they're doing really well. And I think that's the thing. Like when I didn't have clients, I couldn't see that. So
Yeah.
then my confidence wasn't so like, I love that your approach is like, we need to do the things that are going to get you clients first. Like you don't need to do all this groundwork. Like a website will be useful later. These other things will be useful later, but you need to do the things that are really going to get your first clients, because once you do that, or for some people, I guess they're starting already with clients and they're moving to a group. But for the newer coaches, I think once you have those clients and you can see how powerful the work is and feel the changes and witness the changes in these people's lives, it's so motivating and it's such a confidence builder
Yeah.
for like what we really do have to offer. And then that makes your messaging even clearer and come more easily, and your confidence and like your ability to put yourself out there, it all just really feeds into this like cycle, and once you have that momentum going, I feel like now it's just going to continue. I'm not going to have to fight so hard. I'm not going to ever be back at square one,
Yeah.
and just trying to figure out what works. So I mean, I think it's so nice that you're teaching that, and that you're like, okay, we need to get your clients, right? Like we need to get things set up and get clients, because that boosts everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
clients that are paying, because when they're invested, the changes are so different. I coached so many people for free, and
Yeah.
it, like the investment, just not the investment, but the commitment to making a change. They're like, yeah, sure, I'll do a quote, I'll work with you. Like, that sounds great. I'd love to be healthier, kind of thing. But these people are like, I'm struggling and I'm going to do whatever it takes. And now I have this money invested, and like the commitment to get results is just so much
Yeah.
more powerful, I think, or
Definitely.
presence. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much more likely to, anytime you're going through transformation, it's hard no matter what you're working on. So if you've made that financial commitment, you're much more likely to follow through instead of giving
Yes.
up when it gets hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Or saying, okay, I think I'm good now, like we've done this number of sessions and I feel really good. Like, let's just stop here. It's like when you're financially committed, you're not going to stop there.
Yeah.
I think like when you paid for a full program, like you're going to finish the program. And then I don't want to say secondary results, but like the things beyond this goal that they came in to achieve. I think um when that isn't there, like when you have this set amount of time, like they reach these other goals, and then it's like, what's next? And so I feel like with my clients, especially for the clients who pay in full, right away, it's like, okay, we've met these things, we've met these goals, and now look at what else we can do. And then when they are finished with the program, like they're in such a different place than just having figured out what they can eat and what they can't eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Yeah.
Bigger transformation.
It's a way bigger transformation. It's not just this one little thing. And I have a client I just did a video testimonial with, and she was saying exactly that. She was like, I came into it wanting you to help me figure out what I could eat and what I couldn't eat. And that was my goal. And like, we worked on stress management and all these other things. And like, she has just like, she's doing amazing. And so many other things have opened up in her life, so yeah, it feels really good to see that happen.
Yeah, such a powerful coach to help people make those transformations. It's huge.
Yeah,
I love that.
And
tell us like a little bit about just, I know you've had some big personal changes happen too. Like tell us a little bit about, the shifts you made, since you've kind of started your business and gotten things rolling, and because I think it's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. Well, we live in Hawaii now, and I think that as things started to open up and we were like, okay, we really can work from anywhere. We can have the freedom. I'm working from home. My husband works from home.
Yeah.
And our kids are still pretty young. So we were able to kind of pick up. And I think, just feeling the like limitless possibility, is so amazing. And like, we just really were feeling like we were on the wheel and we were just doing all the things we needed to do. We homeschooled while the schools were closed down in 2020. That was really exhausting. I was really pouring myself into my business, but not getting anywhere. That was really exhausting. And, I think that like, seeing things start to kind of pick up and gaining momentum and really connecting with my vision and figuring out what we really wanted, just looking at what we really wanted and what we wanted to have in our life, and how much more we wanted to play and like have time with our kids. So we really set our intentions on figuring out what felt like it would be aligned for us. And we thought about all different things, from like getting a camper and traveling around for a few months. We really considered Costa Rica, and we kept being drawn back to Hawaii. So, I think just connecting with like what feels aligned and what feels right. And then also just really tuning into our vision and what we wanted for ourselves, and then being open and receptive. I'm trying to do this with my business as well, but being open and receptive to like whatever the universe was, where we were supposed to be, and whatever the universe was going to bring in front of us. And it's worked out really nicely. Like, our kids are in school here. We love it. Our life has shifted to where we're not, we don't feel like we're totally on the wheel. Like, we're still busy. We have jobs, we have kids, of course, but, yeah, we get to play a lot more, and it just feels a lot more relaxing and in alignment. And, we may go back to the mainland, but we'll go back with a different perspective, and a different mentality, and like a different intention around how we want our lives to be. So yeah, just really liberating, I think, to like, for things to get moving. I was feeling so stuck in Bellingham, stuck with my business, and I don't feel stuck. And I always had hope that it would shift. Like, I always knew it would eventually shift. I just didn't know how to make it happen. So like, I needed those pieces to be put together for me. It's like I had a puzzle in front of me, and I had like some random middle pieces connected, but like nothing around the edge. And then there were missing pieces in the middle, and I think so much of what I learned from you and in the program has to do with like filling in those pieces and looking at the whole picture, and feels much more complete now. So
I love that. I love all of that. And it's been amazing watching you go through and like make these shifts and have that vision, make vision happen. Like, it's huge.
Yes.
Very exciting. I think and I don't know if you've totally like appreciated like how big that is, but you should.
Yeah. And it's pretty amazing. I appreciate that we have the freedom to do it. And I just really appreciate like, knowing, having the awareness to know what feels right for us and what feels right. And like, I think, with my business too, just feeling like what feels like the right next step and what feels good. And like, I just keep going back to that, I think, because the energy around it. You talk a lot about like your energy is everything because it's what you're putting out there and it's what people are actually going to be attracted to and connect to is, you know, when you're open and receptive and ready. And gosh, I was so ready. I just didn't know how to make it happen. So yeah, super.
Now you do.
I'm so grateful for like the having the support through that, because I really don't think it's possible to and I'm seeing this with my clients too, you know, they're just going in circles. And I did the same thing before I got support. I worked with a gut health coach at one point, and before I had that, like I was just DIYing all these things, and you could just spin for forever, you
Yeah.
know, and I was, but if you don't know and you don't have like, I mean, part of it I think is just having the right support. And then part of it is like these other resources and the knowledge and the pieces. And like when you have both of those things lined up, like so much can happen. And really we can create anything we want when those things are there. So it's really fun.
Love that. That being said, like what would you say to someone who was thinking about possibly working with me, but they're like, oh, I'm not sure. What if it doesn't work? I don't know if I want to make the investment. Any words of wisdom you would give that person?
Yeah. I mean, if you are wavering, I think that getting support is so important because things go from being kind of, you know, all over the place and on that cycle of like not getting anywhere. And, you know, Kristin was so supportive and just really had the tools and the knowledge of like what I needed to do to get my first clients, you know, and I've definitely made my money back. So and now I kind of view it more like money aside, like you know, it's return on your investment, right? Like you talk about that too. It's like when you're putting money into your business, what are you getting back? And I think, you know, maybe I would have signed up a client or two on my own at some point, but I wouldn't have had these long-term things in place. So it's like not only have I made my money back, but it's going to carry my business forward in a much more authentic, aligned, smooth, like less stressful way, you know, where I can enjoy what I'm doing instead of always be trying to figure things out. So if you're on the fence, go for it because it is so, it's just a game changer. It really is a game changer. Like otherwise you may just continue. And I think in my head, like I was reluctant to spend the money for sure. Like I definitely think about where we put our dollars. I hadn't invested aside from Bschool. I hadn't invested a lot in my business. I was just like, I'm going to do as much as I can on my own. And I really had that DIY mentality, you know, and I could have just kept going with that, but I wasn't getting anywhere. So it's like, why keep going, not making any money when I can invest some money and really start moving forward? And like money aside, is I'm fortunate that, you know, I'm not the only income we rely on. So, you know, money aside, my confidence and these other things that have come from it is so much more valuable than the money I spent or the money I made, you know, like to me anyway. Like I really think that these shifts that have happened, like for me personally, and you know, having the know-how and the tools and all of that is so much more valuable than the money that I've even brought in. But it's a huge bonus and that was my goal when I started the program. I was like, I really need to make this money back because it's such a big investment for us. And you were like, let's just commit to that. And we did. And, you know, I did, like well before the program was over, I'd gotten the return on my investment. So yeah.
Amazing. You've done awesome with it. And I want to thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it's so inspiring. Like you've done so much and not only in your business, but in your life and made some huge shifts. And I'm sure you're inspiring your family and everyone around you, which is huge.
Yeah. I love to think that. Thank you for all your support. It's really been amazing.
Yeah. Do you have any last words of wisdom you want to share?
Yeah. I mean, I think, just again with the support, like just know that what you have to offer is amazing. And when you do get support and can really get things rolling with your business or take it to the next level, like every person that we help is, and everything that you have to offer, like, is so valuable. And like Kristin's saying, when we have these shifts, we inspire people around us, and that happens for our clients too. So the work that we're doing needs to be out there. I mean, it's so important in today's world because it's helping people reconnect with themselves and their heart and where they need to be. And, you know, no matter what your niche is, it's really allowing people to show up more fully and presently. Like, I think as health coaches, that's the work that we do. It's not just about losing weight or whatever. So you've got to get out there and get clients, and getting the support is the thing for me. Like on my gut journey, support, the right support was the thing that shifted that. And with my business, getting support was the thing that shifted that. So, you know, as soon as you do that and make that commitment, like whatever you want to happen can happen, but you've got to have those things in place. Like I mean, I finally had to realize, like, I just can't do this alone.
Yeah.
I think we can't do it on our own. So go for it. It's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Oh, well, thank you, Leah. And like I said, thank you so much for sharing all that. I know
Yeah.
everyone's going to find it super, super helpful.